Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to this webinar. This is John Johnson, one of the top leaders of My Daily Choice with Team Global Dynasty Network. And tonight we will be going over what network marketing is, and we will dive into why I chose My Daily Choice specifically. So before we get into that, let me share with you my story and what I was doing before I found network marketing. I'm 20 years old and grew up in Atlantic City, New Jersey. At the age of 5, my parents separated, and due to my mom's lack of financial intelligence, in 2011, the house I grew up in was foreclosed on, which was definitely a punch to the gut, but it developed a desire to succeed financially. But at the time, I just didn't have a path at such a young age. My father was successful in the Atlantic City Fire Department, retiring in 2014 as deputy chief. And his best financial advice was to read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. But at the time, I didn't even read the books that I was supposed to read for school. So I don't know what made him thought that I would read a book that he would recommend. I guess the title of it. But, so I kept on doing me. I kept on going to, just was doing the typical high school thing. And then after I graduated from Holy Spirit High School, I decided to go to my local community college with the plan to major in business because I knew that most successful people owned businesses. But I also knew I didn't need a degree to be successful. So I knew what to do, but I didn't know how to do it, which made me feel uncertain about my future. But 2 weeks later, I was approached on campus by two kids who were overly excited, and my first thought was, what are you trying to sell me? Luckily, they introduced me to someone who knew what they were talking about, and that someone was Brian Jacobs. At the time, Brian was a full-time personal trainer and was making an extra $1,000 a month part-time. So I instantly thought what he was doing was a scam. But after I was out of questions trying to prove to him in some way, shape, or form that it was a scam, and he answered all my questions, I was blown away with what I had just learned and realized that for $150, I could get started with my own business. But little did I know at that time how much that $150 would change my life. So before I get into network marketing, what it is and how it works, let's discuss what's happening in the working world today. I think the biggest problem with the world today is that financial education is not taught in our school system. And student loan debt is bigger than credit card debt. And student loan debt is the worst kind of debt to have, according to Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's the worst debt that you can have because it's never forgiven. There's no, oh, I'm going to file for bankruptcy and, all is forgiven. No, that's not how it works. Student loan debt, it's always there. You always have to pay it back. So on top of all that, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, in 2012, 44% of college graduates were working in jobs that didn't require a college degree. And only 36% of that group were in what researchers called good non-college jobs. Jobs paying about $45,000 a year. So I think that we can all agree college is a good investment, but does not mean that you will succeed financially. The only way to create your own economy and control your income is to become an entrepreneur. And according to a study, 70% of Americans would love to be their own boss. The only problem is they don't know how to do it because they know of all the traditional ways, and most of the traditional ways are very risky. One, you could buy an existing business. But most of the time, if someone is trying to sell their business, it's because that business is failing. So I personally wouldn't want to buy a business that's failing and go through the hassle of trying to turning it around. So if you don't want to do that, you could buy a franchise. Yes, everything is set up for you, and it's kind of all you have to do is do the work. But to open up your own franchise is also very risky because that requires a lot of time, effort, and money, which a lot of people, if they want to start their own business, they don't have a lot of money. They don't have a lot of connections. They don't have all the resources. So third, you could start something from scratch. I think we've all seen the show Shark Tank, and we see people, come with all their ideas and stuff. But it turns out, most of those ideas don't pan out, or most of those businesses and startups don't pan out. Fourth, they could become investors, which is very risky and requires a lot of knowledge. And it turns out that 1 out of every 11 venture capitalists, Mr. Wonderful, Mark Cuban, your favorite people on Shark Tank, they fail on 1 out of every 11 businesses that they invest in. So if you're like me, I didn't have the ability to go out there and do that. So it all adds up to just too much risk for most people. But what if there was a way that you had all the comforting aspects and could still of being an entrepreneur and could still control your own life? You didn't have to create the product. There was everything that you would need except an employer. Do you think that most people would be open to working in an environment like that? I sure believe so. Like I said, those are the traditional ways that you could start a business. But there's one untraditional path, that's for people to start their own business through the creation of a network marketing business. So what is network marketing? Network marketing is simply using a large group of independent entrepreneurs to move a product or service that they feel passionate about more efficiently. According to Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, network marketing is business school for entrepreneurs. Now, a traditional business will normally spend up to about 50% of total revenue on marketing. So network marketing uses independent distributors to do the marketing for them. Why, you might ask? Word of mouth. Word of mouth advertising is so much more effective today than traditional advertising. Think about it. You go see a movie like Jurassic World, and you go tell, your friend Ray to go see Jurassic World. Ray goes to the movies, pays $11 to go see the movie, watches the movie, but you don't get paid for referring him to go see that movie. In network marketing, you get paid. So, two, some products need to be explained or demonstrated by an independent salesperson who can do that more effectively than an ad campaign. And three, it's more efficient. The company only pays for the marketing of their product, of a sale, or of their product if a sale happens and not before. So essentially, imagine if Amazon allowed you to become an independent distributor and paid out 40% of its revenue to that distributor group, and all you had to do was recommend a product, and if a person bought it on Amazon, Amazon would take care of all the logistics, and you get paid for bringing in that customer. Now, how about this? Imagine if you got paid for every purchase that customer made for the rest of their lives. Amazon doesn't offer this option, but network marketing companies do. So the distributor gets all the benefits of owning a traditional business without all the risk, because network marketing allows you to build your own network of other distributors and compensates them on sales created by that group. So essentially, everyone gets to build a sales team from day one. And if they produce, they get paid. And if they don't produce, they don't get paid. And people all around the world are getting paid. Network marketing as an industry as a whole is about $178 billion industry, which is bigger than the music industry, which is $16 billion, and also bigger than the movie industry, which is an $80 billion industry. Network marketing, on top of all that, pays out on average $71 billion a year in commissions. That's $200 million a day. 96 million people are currently involved in network marketing throughout the world. And according to a study, 82% of people report a successful experience with network marketing. But here's the catch. The catch to network marketing is that most people still don't understand it. So you're going to have to embrace a temporary loss of self-esteem from ignorant people. People who flat out just do not know what they're talking about. And in the beginning, you will do a lot of things that you don't get paid for, but as you keep going, you end up getting paid for a lot of things that you don't do. Now, here's the thing. Yes, it's emotional. Yes, it's challenging. You must commit to becoming a professional. And yes, it takes time. But I promise you one thing, it's worth it. So let's go into My Daily Choice and find out, why I chose My Daily Choice and kind of the ins and outs of that company. Okay.